Hey, what's up? This is Wilson with Abysmal Hymns, and I am back with Reza Mills, and we are, as promised, going through our top five David Bowie songs, which was so far, I think I'm predicting this is going to be the easiest for me of the artists that we're going to cover across the board. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a case of somebody who has such a expansive discography that goes from the 60s to the 2000s that for me I wanted to like represent like each era that meant a lot to me when I picked these songs, so it's my favorite song from that era. And then one of them is just like my all-time, well, two of them are probably my all-time favorite songs of all time. So yeah, what are your thoughts on him?
Ah, Mr. Bowie, yes, extensive, very extensive catalogue. I mean, going right back to 67, he did a, I'm really sorry, the only album of his I don't like was this terrible self-titled sort of music hall thing, which I was like, he sounds like Anthony Newley, and it was just a bit too twee in English. But so I only really count his catalogue from Space Oddity onwards, and obviously a chameleon, every single style adopted. He changed tack so many different times at dizzying speeds, and yet it kind of worked. It never felt contrived, although he had his influences, obviously, like everybody. It always felt so original and fresh. So, a sad loss to everybody. Of course, he passed away tragically in 2016, but his music lives on, and his legend does as well.
Yeah, and I think another thing too that stands to be said is that he was always ahead of trends. So
Mm.
like when you heard him kind of delve into like industrial, well, he had already touched on that. He was just circling back around a lot of times to use elements of things that he did before, um, and kind of continually work on those, kind of like a painter, he makes a painting, then he goes back, has to kind of look at it, see what other colors it needs, and then, years later comes back and finishes it. So yeah, there we go. All right, well, how about you kick us off?
All right, so I'm going to go with, I mentioned it just now. It's one of my favorite albums of his. It's his second proper album, Space Oddity. It's also called David Bowie, but I guess they called it because of the single Space Oddity as well. And yeah, it kind of kind of was taking cues very much of its time, sort of incorporating psych folk and art rock. And the track I've gone for that typifies that more than anything is a song called, wait for it, Wild Eyed Boy from Free Cloud. And yeah, very sparse instrumentation. I think I'm trying to think what else is said about it. Oh yeah, and said to be the debut of Mick Ronson, who of course would go on to more famously do Spiders from Mars and that kind of stuff. But I think it's probably one of his definite standouts because when people think of this album, it's obviously the title track, but this definitely sees him sort of dabbling in weirder elements, kind of like, I don't know, I'm not really into T-Rex, but around the same time, Tyrannosaurus Rex, as they were known, was kind of doing a similar thing. So weird, artsy, psych folk. And I feel like it kind of fits into that camp, or maybe some of the English folk that was going on around the time. So yeah, really cool, very underrated song and album, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely contemporaries with Mark Bolan, so they were in the same circles. If nothing else, they
Mm.
probably had the same drug dealer, but who knows?
It's more
I
the
like the live version of that song from
yeah.
that David Bowie, the Ziggy Stardust the Motion Picture.
Okay, yeah.
They do a really good version of it that I think sounds fuller than
Mm.
the album version, but
I can understand that. Yeah, obviously it was a very sparse sounding album. It was very kind of low key. It wasn't quite the Dame thin, Dame David with the costumes and everything. It was just a scruffy oik from, I don't know where he's from, South London, I think, with long hair and just twiddling around on a guitar. But it's a good start in any case.
right, for sure, for sure. So my first one is gonna be from Ziggy Stardust,
Hmm.
and it's it's not one of the singles. I guess it's one of the darker, more introspective songs from that album. It's Rock and Roll Suicide,
Hmm.
which you can hear a little bit of Lou Reed influence in, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just I don't know, it feels very like raw and honest and not as over the top maybe as the other songs on that album
Yeah.
because I was, you know, it was kind of a hard choice between that and Moon Age Daydream, but this one won out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that album, it's, yeah, as you say, it is a very over the top album, but it's a concept album in essence. And superb. I mean, a couple of tracks I'm kind of like it here in England, especially. I don't know what it's like for the States, but yeah, I'm really tired of hearing Starman. I don't particularly like that, but the rest of the album is pretty solid, and that song especially.
Right, and it's weird how some songs like that just kind of slip into popular culture.
Yeah.
You know, like Starman was not one of the singles from that album when it came
Mm,
out, but
mm.
years later, that's, you know, whether it was movies or television, somehow it kind of stuck and stayed.
Yeah, and it's really funny. I mean, over here there used to be a show called Top of the Pops, which I guess your equivalent might be Dick Clark or something like that. And the video it always gets shown over here of Starman and him jamming with this guy. I think he was the bassist with these ridiculous mutton chop sideburns sort of things. And it's just like, oh, okay, I've seen this footage about 20 billion times. It's fine, but he has got other songs.
Right, right.
But there you go. What can you do?
Yep. All right, what you got next?
All right, man. So the next record I'm going for is another one of my favorites, which is of course Hunky Dory from I think it's 1971. And the song that I love the most, I think it's absolutely so much swagger. It's of course Queen Bitch. And actually, the first time I ever heard this song was a cover version by the band Green River, who do a really awesome cover, the proto grunge band. But yeah, it just has this swagger to it. I'm looking at the genre tags now, and it's labeled as glam rock and proto punk, and it's actually a song that's a tribute to the Velvet Underground, and it's just so cool. It's one of those songs like Rebel Rebel. It has this swagger, and you can see why he was such a massive influence on, I guess, well, not the proto punk bands, the later punk bands to come in, sort of like 77, 78, 76. And also, the Germs guy, Darby Crash, was a huge fan of Bowie. So you can sort of see why, really. It had a camp feel, but also had that kind of punky arrogance to it, that punky swagger too. So, yeah, definitely a very, very cool song. It just kicks ass, really.
Right, and you know, it's funny because we now think of glam rock, the American version is like
Mhm.
Kiss. Um, and
Yeah.
we think that it's more associated with hair metal when really it was more tied to punk rock when it came out.
Yeah. New York Dolls and stuff like that. In
Yeah,
fact, New York Dolls, I think, probably took cues from this.
for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, I guess I'm gonna kind of go in chronological order. Seems like you're
Mm.
doing that. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna see, but it skips ahead
Mm.
several years to Young Americans, and the song I'm picking is, I guess, a B-side, but I think it's the best vocal performance on there. And there's like the arrangements. You know, he kind of discovered Luther Vandross, and Luther Vandross talks about how, you know, he had never heard vocal arrangements like this and how Bowie was like pointing at people when it was time to sing in the studio and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going to pick Fascination.
Okay. Yep. That's nice. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So there we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny with someone like Luther Vandross because we think about him now, and there's always a bit of a running joke, especially with the England cricket team, that a lot of them were not particularly cool, the sort of cardigan wearing guys who kind of probably listening to like Simply Red and Luther Vandross. But it's easy to forget that back in his time, back in the day, he was a pretty credible soul singer. And hey, if he played, I think this was probably his first ever appearance on a record. So
Right.
it's not a bad start. The guy chops, that's for sure. So yeah, it's easy to ridicule him, but when it's such a great record that he helped contribute towards, he can't be all bad.
Right.
All right, nice one, man. So I'm gonna go with yeah, this was really difficult. I went with Scary Monsters, Brackets, and Super Creeps from 1980. And of course, it was his first album after the Berlin trilogy, Low, Heroes, and Lodger. And I was kind of weighing it up. Should I go for one of those? But then I thought this was probably one of the first albums that I heard by him next to Space Oddity. And it really sees him evolving into the 80s, you know. Although, of course, he's still got the artsiness going on, he's also incorporating elements of new wave and post-punk. And of course, I'll get to the point. The track I've chosen is Fashion. And I just love the way that this track is sort of laid out. I feel like it's kind of a prelude to what he would do with Let's Dance. And it just has this sort of funk vibe to it. Definitely, I suppose you could say proto New Romantic. So this was even just about predating the likes of Duran Duran and Spandau Ballet and ABC and all of those sort of bands. And amazingly, Robert Fripp contributes lead guitar. In fact, he contributed on Heroes as well. So yeah, definitely a pioneering track. I was thinking, should I go for Ashes to Ashes? And I thought, yeah, I like it, but I always found this to be such a cool jam that I thought, why not? You know, yeah. So
There
that
we
was it.
go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I definitely agree with that. I'm gonna actually have a song from that album next too,
Mm.
but it's not that one. I'm gonna go with the title track, Scary Monsters,
All right.
just because it's so heavy and dark for what it is, you know. And I
Mm.
can see that as being one of the songs that like would influence goth music to come. You know,
Yes.
because there's those low frequencies. You know, Trent Reznor was listening to this album before he made Pretty Hate Machine. So,
Sure.
um, his when he gets into that really low dramatic baritone, that's one of my favorite vocal tones from him.
Mm.
It's either that or his falsetto. It's one or the other. So it should be no
Yeah.
surprise considering how much I like King Diamonds. I like contrast.
Yeah, an easy fit for you. Interesting that you mentioned, I think you touched on post-punk. In fact, it's been thematically compared to She's Lost Control by Joy Division.
Right,
Uh,
I can see that.
it definitely, yeah, definitely. It's quite amazing just how prescient he was. In some ways, he predated genres and inspired it, but in other times, he was sort of inspired by. And there's no doubt in my mind that he was probably listening to a lot of those Manchester bands. There's just no doubt in my mind that he was aware of that stuff,
Right, for sure.
you know, because he made no secret of that, you know, that he's somebody who, you know, he might be pioneering, but hey, we all pick up on things as we go through, you know, I suppose if you're an artist, you pick up on the current trends and what have you. So, yeah, great choice. Nice one.
All right. What you got?
So, my next choice, I've gone way forward to 1997 and an album called Earthling. And it's kind of an interesting record. I mean, at the time, oh God, if you lived in the UK, it was all this Cool Britannia, what they call Cool Britannia. The Labour Party had just gotten in, which is your Democrats. And everything was sort of like, you know, let's proud to be British and all that sort of obsession. So Oasis and Blur and Supergrass. And, you know, Bowie kind of fit in with that on this album because he's like wearing a Union Jack coat on the cover. However, that said, although there was that which was designed by Alexander McQueen, although there was that, that album was there was no indie on this record. This was him going even further into like, you know, industrial and electronica and drum and bass and techno. And the track that I've gone for is probably my favorite song on the album, which is called Little Wonder. And it's this kind of like it's jungle music with a bit of noise rock thrown in. And it's very dancey. Yeah, it's Bowie's very what's the word? Like there's that trademarked or very deep sounding voice. And apparently, I'm just looking at some of the notes here, and he says that it was pure stream of consciousness. And he said he picked up Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and made a line for each of the dwarves' names. So, he's really thinking off the cuff here. So, yeah, brilliant song, brilliant album. Features the great Reeves Gabrels, of course, who we've mentioned on the show before. He plays with the Cure now, and yeah, definitely fitting into, I guess, maybe what the Prodigy were doing with Firestarter and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, a lot of fun.
For sure, yeah. I love that album. That song in particular, it is interesting the way he treats the vocals on the verses.
Hmm,
I know that he was inspired a lot by William S. Burroughs when it came to writing lyrics, and that he would write them and chop them up and pick random phrases and,
hmm.
you know, use really abstract concepts to kind of challenge himself, which you can hear on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's see. I will kind of take us back into the 80s again and go with the Let's Dance album, which is
Hmm.
probably my favorite album of his.
Yeah,
It's hard to say.
good one. It's a good
It was
one.
also the first album of his I bought that was not the Labyrinth soundtrack. So, um, yeah, so and it was not, I guess we've talked about Never Let Me Down. That
Yeah.
was, an extension of those Labyrinth sessions, I think. I think he went right into the studio and was like, shit, I got a movie coming out. I gotta bust out an album. Where are those songs I left around for Iggy Pop? Let me dress them up like something for the Muppets. Um, this was more calculated.
Yeah.
He saw what pop music was doing. He's like, yeah, sure, I can make a pop album. Why don't
Hmm.
I? So yeah, so the song I'm picking is China Girl,
Ah,
which
nice.
is, once again, we're back a little darker than the other singles. It's darker than Let's Dance,
Hmm.
and it's darker than um Modern Love. Not
Hmm.
as dark as the Cat People song, but
Yeah. Yeah. I love that record. Yeah.
right, yeah.
Nile
Great
Rodgers.
guitar playing from that's the only album that I like Steve Ray Vaughan
I understand that.
on.
Yeah, that's a strange mix, right? Stevie Ray Vaughan, really? It's just
Yeah,
like,
it's such great lyrical guitar solos. I'm not a
yeah.
huge, well, I say that I'm not a huge guitar solo guy, but I like them when they're done like that, or like David
Yes.
Gilmour when it's like very melodic.
Oh, yes.
I guess the closest I get to being into shredding is probably Andy LaRock from King Diamond's band, but he still even plays the melodies.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just Lincoln, nah.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. That was a cover, right? Was it a cover? Didn't Iggy
Yeah,
do
it
it?
was an Iggy Pop song.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um,
once again, he dusted off another Iggy Pop because there were some Iggy Pop songs on Never Let Me Down.
yeah. True. Yeah, very true. Yeah, that's just a fantastic pop record. I think it's definitely up there with In Excess and Scritti Politti and I don't know, Talk Talk or something as an example of how to craft really well made pop.
Hmm.
As well as well, I was going to say Queen, but I don't really like them in the 80s. But yeah, Modern Love is just, yeah, it's such a fun opener. And then China Girl, you're right. It's a little bit more. Have you seen the video when he does that
Hmm.
shh thing as well? Yeah, it is quite dark and it's not a happy tune, It's quite mournful. I think it has more in common. I wouldn't quite go as far as saying post-punk, but it has elements of,
It's
yeah,
leaning in that direction.
it does, yeah, for sure. So yeah, very different type of song. And I think, if I remember correctly, a couple of members of the band Chic were featured on this
Hmm.
record as well. Bernie Edwards and Nile Rodgers. So yeah, fantastic choice. Yeah, nice one. Good record.
There you go.
Awesome. So my last choice, excuse me. I think there was two versions of this, if I remember correctly. I think one of them was on the Outside album, which it's an okay record. I'm sort of hit and miss with it. But then the version I'm going with actually is the one for the film Lost Highway, which is probably my favorite David Lynch film. And I honestly, the reason I placed it at number one, I suppose, was subconsciously on purpose, because it probably is one of my favorite Bowie songs. It is like the bleakest I've ever heard him. I mean, yes, of course, he did some darker stuff earlier on, but it has that. It's an industrial tune. It definitely has that kind of Nine Inch Nails, but the better end of their work, not with some of the cringy woe is me stuff, but some of the better material that Nine Inch Nails put out. And if you watch it in the context, I suppose what you could do is you could do two things. You could either watch Lost Highway, which I never need an excuse not to do that, or you could just watch the video, or even you could sort of watch Lost Highway on mute and have this song playing in the background. So yeah, you've got a few options there
I
on a
mean, Lost
fantastic.
Highway is such a great movie. You might as well
Oh, it
just go ahead
is.
and watch it.
It's perfect. I think it's the best, one of the best things that he ever did.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best soundtracks too.
Oh, it is. I never tire of that. Got Barry Adamson on there for goodness sake.
Right? It's got Marilyn Manson on there.
Um, Smashing Pumpkins and
Oh yeah, I forgot they were on there.
yeah, one of their better songs and some loads of other people as well. But yeah, it's such a good album. So yeah, again, I'm deranged. I definitely recommend people check this out. It kind of actually reminds me in a way of what he would do on his very last album, like Black Star. It has that mournful quality to it. It-
Right. And I
it-
think, I
yeah,
think you should give Outside another listen
I
too,
will. Yeah, I think I was put
because
off. I was put off because there was a Pet Shop Boys collaboration. Because I'm not the
like a
biggest.
remix, right? I know.
Yeah, I know. It's very unfair on my part. I understand.
But a lot of it, I mean, there's a lot of great, I think your boy, what's his name? The pianist or the trumpet, Mark, the guy that we were talking about in your favorite albums of 2025, I think he plays on it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, Mac.
Yep.
Matt
Mac.
Callahan. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I
And
think.
because there's a lot of weird jazz interludes. So it blends like industrial and jazz, almost like psychic TV to me.
Oh, well, I shall go back and revisit that one definitely, if that's the case.
And we're going
I,
to keep talking about that album too, because my my next one
okay.
is from it.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. And that ties in
So
so
we've
well.
only just like the Carpenters, we've only just begun. Um, my pick though is The Heart's Filthy Lesson.
Okay.
I was gonna do it was tossed between that and Hello Space Boy.
That's a Pet Shop Boys thing. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, if you haven't heard the real Hello Space Boy version, have you heard the one that he plays with oh that I hate the band, but he plays Dave Grohl's band, Foo Fighters.
Oh, Foo Fighters. Oh,
Yeah, for
God.
his
Really?
birthday party, they were like playing on it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's more industrial than the Pet Shop Boys version of it.
yeah. Okay.
I'm sure theirs is. I mean, I don't hate the Pet Shop Boys. I can.
I don't hate them, but they kind of fit into that whole, Pet Shop Boys, Communards, Bronski Beat,
Right.
Erasure, that kind of, you know, very over the top,
Yeah.
somewhat
It
cheesy.
really depends on how much cocaine you did in gay bars in the 90s, I think, if you
That's a
how
good point.
much you can
Yeah,
appreciate
I,
that.
I should actually
Which,
stress.
in Atlanta, sometimes there was
Yeah.
not a lot of other places to go. So, I found a love for the communards in dark
I,
corners of the
I have
world.
to stress, of course, that me choosing those bands is not a reflection. I don't care. God bless you. You go with whoever you want to go with. I
Yeah.
want to make that very clear. I just don't like the style of those bands. That's it.
Yeah, no, it is very, but it seemed like it was that factored into that whole scene, you know.
Sure. Yeah,
Just like, I mean, you could say that factored into glam rock, you know.
that's it,
It
man.
was it
Yeah.
was like the transsexual rock music, punk rock, pre-punk.
For
Because
sure.
if
Yeah.
you watch, I don't know what was that last, well, they talk about it in Velvet Goldmine, which,
Hmm.
was originally supposed to be a David Bowie biopic, but he told them no, so they had to change all the names and people
Hmm.
and couldn't use his music.
I only
Um,
I see only saw that once in the
yeah,
early
it's pretty good.
2000s.
It's worth
Yeah.
watching.
Ewan McGregor, isn't it?
Yep, Ewan McGregor plays Iggy Pop,
No.
or
Okay.
the Iggy Pop based character.
Fair dues.
What's his name? The guy from Jonathan Rhys Meyers
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah.
plays
Yeah.
David Bowie.
Ah.
And I like it because Shudder to Think did the soundtrack pretty much.
Oh nice.
Yep.
Oh
It
good. I
was
didn't know
them
that.
with the guys from Radiohead.
Oh, that's an interesting combo.
Yeah, I mean Radiohead is they have their moments.
Yeah, yeah, they're fine, I guess. I don't really listen to them, but I'm just like, okay, whatever.
You can tell that they Radiohead grew up listening to good music. It's just, you know,
I mean, I know they like the Pixies, that's for sure, and I'm
yeah,
fairly sure they like stuff like Bowie. I wouldn't, well,
right.
they certainly like Brian Eno, that's for sure.
No, yeah. They wouldn't
But
have made Kid A if they didn't.
well, that's it, man. Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
So yeah, so there's where we are. We're with Heart's Filthy Lesson. It's a little darker and a little more like not as overt Nine Inch Nails influence, Like the accents are what makes it industrial rather than being so blatant like Hello Space Boy, which is really in your face and doo, 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 doo. There's none of that.
Yeah.
So, and if you, I doubt they did that in the Pet Shop Boys version, which I can't even remember. I know I've heard it, but I don't remember it.
I can't remember. When it
No.
comes to the Pet Shop Boys, I tend to glaze over a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I like them as people. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Neil
Yeah, I
Tate
mean,
like a nice enough fella, but it's just
I
musically, it's not my
vaguely
thing.
remember seeing them in concert once, and they were driving around the stage on little segways,
Yeah,
which was less than impressive.
yeah,
And I think keyboards were the only instruments that were on stage, which
yeah.
that made me think that they weren't on because music was happening while they were driving around on their segways.
Fair dues.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I paid for that show, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could say about Pet Shop Boys, at least they were better than Erasure, but then is that
Right.
damning with
That's a
faint
low bar.
praise? I don't, yeah.
That's a low
Is that
bar.
damning with faint praise? Who knows? But
Yeah, I mean, of really, what I would call really vapid gay pop, I would say that Pet Shop Boys
I'm
would
just
be
relieved that you
at
said it and not
yeah,
me.
that, they're at the top of the pile for that.
Yeah,
So
for
we don't
sure.
even have to make a top five list of vapid gay pop. We'll go ahead and put Pet Shop Boys at the top. And
Uh,
I'll put Scissor Sisters maybe at number two, but they
okay.
actually play instruments.
Yeah, yeah, well, that's true. I don't really have a
Um,
problem with them. They just do what they do.
yeah,
Okay, fine,
it is what it is. It's all right.
Indeed.
Um,
Good.
so yeah, so there we go. There's our Bowie. I mean, it's fitting that we would segue off into that while talking about David Bowie because we wouldn't be having any of these discussions about
Mm,
that going on in music if it wasn't for David Bowie. Now, people will shout about Little Richard, but he was totally in the closet until
yeah,
the 60s or 70s.
yeah. For sure. I mean, hey, look, if you pardon the not the pun, but the expression, like it took balls literally to be black, gay, from like the South in what the 50s, as you say,
Oh,
early
yeah, for
60s.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
God, it's
Playing
very
juke joints.
yeah, right. This guy was as punk as you can get.
Well, yeah, for that type of thing, he
Sure.
was definitely, um, you know, doing some different things for sure. And he inspired Elvis, on some level.
He's good. I don't mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's cool.
Um,
Cool.
so what did we, so what we're doing next, I want to say
Mm.
is, One of yours.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go with Faith No More. Is that
Oh
it?
yeah. That
Faith No
should be,
More. There you
yeah,
go.
that would be good.
We'll
That would
keep
be
it
good.
just at Faith No More. We won't expand into other Mike Patton
Oh
projects.
my God, we'd be here all year
Yeah.
if we're going to do that. And don't forget the other guys are no slouches as well. Then you'd be delving into Bill Gould, and then you'll be going into like I know the drummer jammed with Ozzy.
Yeah, we'll be going into Roddy Bottum's Vapid Gay
Yeah,
Pub, so
right.
you know.
Talk about Roddy Bottom before we wrap up. Talk about Roddy Bottom, Man on Man, I think it's called.
Of course, why not?
Check
Why
that
wouldn't it
out.
be?
It is absolutely hilarious. It is talking
And I'm
Roddy.
sure before it's all said and done, Mike Patton will have a side project with the Pet Shop Boys
I'm sure, yeah.
and the remaining members of Bronski Beat.
I'm sure. Yeah, I wouldn't
It'll,
put it past
it'll
him.
just be all falsetto yodeling and Klaus Nomi covers.
True, true. Cool, man.
So yeah, all right. We'll see
More.
you guys next time for our top five Faith No More albums. We don't really have to say anything else about. We don't have to wrap up the David Bowie because he pretty much speaks for himself.
Oh, I was just
If you
going to
clicked
say,
on this, you probably know how great he is, and there's no mystery in that. But we just gave you the songs to make sure that you got to check out. Reza is gonna do his homework and listen to Outside again,
yep.
and then I'm always listening to David Bowie. So I don't know. Maybe I should listen to hippie folk stuff again.
I recommend it.
Yeah,
I highly
so I'll
recommend
check out
this,
the hippie
honestly.
folk stuff.
Yeah, and
It'll
the
have to
man
be
who sold the
a
world,
big
of
pot
course.
smoking day. It'll be hippie folk stuff, vapid gay hippie folk stuff. Um, which will be the next grindcore band that I make, be called Vapid Gay Hippie Folk Stuff. But yeah, so we'll see you next week for Faith No More. Like and subscribe and do whatever you got to do on the internet, but erase your history afterwards.